Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Leicester City 1, Everton 1. First point of the season for the Toffees on the road. Well, first point of the season, full stop, for Everton. Achieved on the road. Jack, good results for Everton. You still celebrating that they've finally done it?
No, I mean, you know, for some people it's...
I was building that up a bit more than, you know, giving you the big build-up.
Sorry, go on, I'll let you...
No, that was it.
But, yeah, for some it's a point win, for others it's 2 points drop, but I just think regardless, it's another game where Everton have failed to win, in a game where looking at the opposition and their performance on the day, the win was certainly there for Everton, so for me it's nothing to write home about. We've got a point on the board, which is more than we had, so there is that, but it's difficult to be overly positive about it, to be honest.
2 points dropped to you, or are you looking at it and just thinking we're up and running now?
No,
and we move on?
Not a chance. Don't ever ask me for that kind of level of positivity. How dare you? No, it was massively 2 points dropped. We were all over them. They are one of the poorer teams in the Premier League, and yeah, it's 2 points dropped. You can't. I don't know how anyone can look at it any other way. But hey ho, you know.
I mean, they haven't exactly spent a ton of money in the summer, have they, to be able to, you know, build the squad up from the Championship.
Spent it all on lawyers.
Yeah, as we've done in the past. The manager went with Ashley Young in at left back because Michalenko was out. James Garner at right back. Michael Keane was fit enough to play with Tarkowski in the heart of the defence. Mangala kept his place for his first Premier League start for Everton. He had Doucouré back in midfield. Timmy Boonen dropped out. And then he had the forwards, McNeil, Lindstrom and Ndiaye and Calvert-Lewin up top. And I've seen again that thing, isn't there, with people's comments once the team's out, you know, the midfield's a joke and this, that and the other. And you better just keep your powder dry for stuff like that, because it doesn't always play out. And I actually thought Everton started the game quite well. You know, we had the chance almost within the first couple of minutes, and Ndiaye done well down the left, put a great ball over, and Lindstrom should have hit the target. He's on the stretch, I get it, but he should have hit the target, yeah.
Yeah, he just didn't connect properly, did he? And, you know, once again, it's Lindstrom popping up in a dangerous area and showing his awareness as he continues to grow into games for us, the more appearances he gets. But, yeah, the delivery by Ndiaye is brilliant, and I just don't think he quite has his body set right, Lindstrom, and again, that's something that might come down to rustiness. And I know we've said this about him for a couple of games on the run now, and you know, it is getting to the point where you just want his performances to speak for themselves. But you know, overall, he had a good game for me following on from this, and I think it is quite telling that he does pop up in the right positions on the pitch and in dangerous areas. We just need him to start converting a couple of them now, don't we?
Ted, I mean, have you been more impressed with Lindstrom as it's gone on, without going over? But you know, he's not been amazing, but he has seemed to get better game by game. And I thought Saturday, I actually thought he had quite a good game. Well, you know, relatively speaking.
I did. I thought, I've been impressed is not the right word.
No, it wasn't the right word, but
impressed not the right word. With the last two games, there's just promising signs.
Yeah.
There are promising signs from him. He gets a lot more forward than Jack Harrison does. I think Jack Harrison tends to start from a much deeper position, and I think Lindstrom, and I hope this doesn't get beaten out of him, is trying to play as the third striker rather than a wide man. And when you've got, I thought it was a lovely build up to that move. Like McNeil, good feet back into Ndiaye, and he's got wide and put a really good ball in, showing the other side of him. And if he gets that on target, he should score. I mean, he should score anyway. I mean, for me, it's a sitter. No, you know, without digging the player in too much, for me, a professional footballer should be hitting the target from there. If you hit the target from there, you should be scoring, basically. So I thought that was a clear-cut chance that he should have took. But I think there's promising signs in the last two games. The areas he pops up in, being a lot more forward, being a lot more carrying the ball into the box, in the areas where Jack Harrison just hasn't really been in the entire time he's been at Everton. I think he just always looks deeper, and that's promising. And if he gets if he can get a run of games, it'll be interesting. We've got 2 home games now. I always feel like a player like that, they always get protected in a home game in scenario, and it's a bit of a good advantage. I think because he is different from Ndiaye on the other side, he's someone who uses the space a little bit more than picking up the ball and running with it. I think that's a decent contrast. So yeah, it's promising.
Yeah, I definitely used the wrong word and impressed. I meant the signs are there that he is becoming better each game, and I don't think you can overlook the fact that when he left Germany and he was really promising, a lot of clubs including Liverpool were interested in him, and he went to Napoli and hasn't worked, and his confidence was took a battering, and he's come in and again he's not being put in the team and left to quickly get up to speed. He's had to fight for minutes really, but the manager has put him in the last couple, and his performances have got better, and he's definitely popping up in the right areas. He's missed a few chances. Hopefully once he gets one, his confidence will go up and he can start putting the ball in the net, and if he can weigh in with goals on that side as well, then we're definitely going to be in business. But we did take the lead, and it was a really good goal as well, and Ndiaye, the architect of most of the positive things that we do. So let's have a look at the stills. First, we see him here. He's just had his foot on the ball. Ashley Young comes and plays it short, and he rolls it off to Young, and then it's the space there where that line is. Ned will take it on for us, and there's the space, and it's actually a really good ball from Ashley Young. But because Ndiaye makes the run, it gives him that area to hit, and Dwight McNeil comes towards the ball, which also draws the defender out with him. Ned takes it on again. See, you've got McNeil circled, the defender following him, which allows a big space for Ndiaye to go in. It's a good ball from Young, something Everton don't do enough for me, play those kind of passes. But again, you've got to have someone making the run. You take it on again. He just dribbles across the box. That's the area he's going to go for, because that's where there's the least traffic. He hits it, and obviously it's the inside of the post and goes in the corner of the net. And Everton were 1-up, and Ndiaye's first Premier League goal for Everton, and a great start, Jack, and it was, can we build off that?
Yeah, it was a brilliant move, and Ashley Young is the architect of me. Obviously, Ndiaye makes the run for the pass to be available, but it's a very good pass by Ashley Young, and you said it's one we don't play enough, and this is a benefit of having a fullback who is decent with both feet, because obviously he's very comfortable on his right foot, and a left back who will turn inside on his right foot, then opens up that pass. Michalenko, in my opinion, better left back, is our left back option. But Ashley Young, what he gives us in that position is the ability to turn inside. You could tell by the body language of the Leicester players, they were expecting that ball to go back out wide. And Ndiaye sends them the other way, so he's got space there, and Ashley Young is capable of the passing behind. And yeah, it was a very good start. And Ndiaye, we've seen already this season, he's been the spark for us, as and he's obviously got that little bit of quality going forward. And seeing a lot of Sheffield United fans, his old club, on social media talking about that's the type of goal he scores. Actually, he's done that type of thing quite often for them. That off the inside of the post finish, it's sort of like a bit of a signature move for him. So it's very promising for us as a team to have a player like that in our squad, someone who's got a little bit of flair about them. I don't want to get carried away because we're only early in, but he is really carrying this Everton team forward at the moment, and long may it continue. Are
you saying he gets his protractor out when he's having a shot and tries to just make sure it's clipping the inside of the post? Yeah.
Well, no, apparently he will go there often, no.
I mean, Ped, this time last year, Everton ironically got exactly the same record. 1 draw and 4 defeats in the opening 5. We had a winger who scored once in a cup game and once in a league game for us, and we hoped he would go on to greater things.
He won number 10.
He did wear the 10, and ironically scored at Sheffield United. Jack just name-checked them. But this player, Iliman Ndiaye, looks like he's a lot better suited to what Everton want to do, and he works hard as well, but certainly dribbling tight spaces, and that was a lovely goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think Jack's right there about, he's taking us forward. He gives us something. He gives us a focal point. I think we saw that against Bournemouth. I think he drags people round. You've seen from the still there, the two of them are chasing him, and he's so unpredictable. I actually don't think he's one of those players who when people say, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing, I think he knows exactly what he's doing. He does have those moves.
Like Jagger.
Very much so. Jack's, Jack was talking then about the shot. Very similar to when we played Roma in the pre-season game. Very similar kind of movement. Yeah. So it comes back and he hits it straight and tries to catch the goalkeeper early. Yeah. Puts it back a little bit on, that day it just went wide.
Well, at the outside of the post.
Yeah, it did, yeah. So I think at the moment, as I said before, he's got great feet and he's also got a little bit of pace, just that little bit of movement. And I think what you've seen so far is that he's capable of it, and I think he'll be capable of it all season. I think the opposition won't really know what to do with him other than maybe double up on him. Yeah. And then if they do double up on him, it's up to us. It's
exploit that space.
If you can exploit it, if you have the other players to exploit it. But you mentioned there McNeil just coming off and allowing the space, and I just think that three behind Dom is more intelligent and has a little bit more pace in the feet and in the mind as well. Doucouré, I don't think you would see playing in that role, joining up in that way. Only he's quite got that intelligence. And McNeil saying he doesn't make those kind of runs. He does pick the ball up and he's direct, but just not in that way where because he's massively left-footed. You're not 100. You can predict what he's going to do. Whereas in Ndiaye, I'm not sure players know because his feet. People are terrified of pace. You know that we've been saying that for a while, and as we've already mentioned, with someone on the other side who was playing more as a wide forward than as a wide midfielder, it does open it up for us, and he has been so bright so far. And as I said, it's nice to have that one player who you go, you get you off your seat, and kids will love him, and kids want to emulate what he does, and that's so important in football nowadays.
You need players like that, don't you?
Of course you do. You need that one player. You go, God, can't wait to see him play today. And that has to be nurtured. He has to be in the team every week. You have to make allowances for that. When not comparing the two technically, but James Rodriguez, you made allowances for that, and you made sure players covered the roles where he mightn't have been, and you have to. But he does work really hard as well.
He reminds me of Pienaar. He's not exactly the same as Pienaar. No. Pienaar was more of an intelligence with the passing and how he opened the game up. But he does work hard, and he does track, and he has.
But he has got football intelligence because he doesn't give the ball away aimlessly, if that makes sense. He puts his foot on the ball and has like a little look round what's actually going on before he decides to do something. He's not someone who just runs into traffic. No. So that's the good early signs.
No, I think you're right. I mean, I've said for a while McNeil should be playing. If he's playing, he should be playing off the striker, because what Dwight McNeil gives us is the left foot, the shots. He's got a great shot on him. We saw in the second half, when he gets his head up, he can pick a pass. Problem is when he's out on the left, because you just said it there, he's so one-footed. He's easy to mark out the game because he hasn't got pace, really. He's not pacey. His game is closed down too easily. So he's almost becomes just special teams. He's just there to take a corner or a free kick, and you can't have that when you've got a team that isn't blessed with 8 or 9 other players who are top quality. You can't have one that's good at free kicks or things. But I think playing in the position he's playing in at the moment, right, that's probably his best position if he's going to play in the Everton side. And I think having him off Dom and then having two contrasting wide players with the big 9 through the middle, it gives us something, doesn't it? And I'd almost wonder if you'd had an attacking left back behind Ndiaye. I wonder how much space that would open up, because he does come inside with the ball, and that reverse would be on, and it might be about dragging people around, and we'll see how we go with there. But we took the lead, and then we had that period where it was almost too easy, if that makes sense. Leicester just kept giving us the ball back, which surprised me. Mangala, who I haven't been impressed with up to now, wasn't writing them off. It was very early, but he'd come on a filler and hardly touched the ball. And then against Southampton, he just didn't do anything.
Game, was he?
But I thought on Saturday, he kept us ticking over. He just got it and moved it. And I was saying to you, Jack, he didn't make a single tackle, which is mad for a player playing in that position. But he just got it and just moved it and got it and moved it and opened it up. And we had another good chance where he sprays the ball out to Lindstrom on the other side, and he comes in, and we end up having a Lindstrom shot, which the keeper parries, which is a good save as well, and it goes back, and then Dom had gone into an offside position. But he certainly, with Doucouré, and again, ironically, I actually think Doucouré's better, as I said in the summer, his better games for Everton near the back end of the season were when he was deeper, and I thought he had a really good half of just going and nicking the ball back. And then two were all, he wouldn't have been everybody's opening two players to play midfield, but it worked, and certainly in the first 45 it worked.
Yeah, and I suppose it's the benefits of having an actual squad, isn't it, and having a couple of options in midfield, because obviously Irabunam's been in the team, and I think you're all expecting to see him start, especially those of us who thought James Garner would be at right back as well. Irabunam seems like a shoe-in into that team, but obviously went with Mangala and Doucouré, and yeah, they both did well dictating the game for a period. And it is weird with Doucouré, innit, because you look at his shortcomings as a footballer and you go, well, his technical ability with the ball at his feet. Therefore, you'd assume that sort of deeper midfield role would sort of be out of his abilities, but he does seem to do better there. And whether it's the calmness in that position, and because when he's in the 10 almost, he's having to make quicker decisions, he's got to get the ball out his feet quicker, he's got less on if we're trying to go forwards. But it's strange, isn't it? He's a strange footballer, because he doesn't have a specific set of skills that make him a natural fit in any position.
No, I think it's like focus though. I think it's why Ashley Young's better at left back than he is at right back, because he has to think about it. I think he has to concentrate on the job he has to do. I think he's just come to a stage of his career where, I'm not saying he can't play that role anymore where he was, but I just think when he plays in that deeper role, physically, it suits him. He doesn't have to sort of get on the gallop with the ball, and it just fits right now. I mean, listen, it mightn't fit against other teams.
No.
But there are games where you go, yeah, he'll do a job in there because he's physical. He likes to tackle. It was, again, it's like he's more of like the hybrid midfielder, which we used to just call midfielders. But he can go both ways. But I think then it was like, well, no, now you're like an 8 or a 10. Because we need you in that role, because you're the only one who can really attack that we've got in our squad. And I think now, because there's other ones in there, the manager's gone, well, yeah, that's why I couldn't quite understand the decision in the second half to push him into that position. I thought him and Mangala were doing really well, just sitting in front of the back for him and being the protection and just taking the ball and giving it back to other players who in the higher positions. And for me, that really worked. And it was like, once that started to tire and we started losing a grip on the control of the actual control on the game, that's when it suited Leicester, because, and no skipping ahead, but that's when it started suiting them, because the game then was just turnover after turnover after turnover. And because they were just going for it and we were in like that, Sean Dyche had made subs and stuff, I think that's when the game started getting away from us and silly things started to happen. But I think the balance of that team was right. It was right, but it was only ever going to really last like an hour because of the players we had.
It's the shape for me though, because when we have obviously McNeil in the 10 almost, and then Ndiaye and Lindstrom over the side, it's more like a 4-2-3-1. It's more advanced. Having Doucouré in there, it sort of reverts back to that. And whether this is Doucouré himself or it's the manager's decision when playing him there, it goes back to that 4-4-1-1 almost. It's effectively just a 4-4-2 with one of your strikers moving about a little bit more, which is great if you're competitive in the game. But if you're not really getting on the ball, you just end up with a player with no real position, and then he's not useful in their box, he's not useful in the middle of the pitch. So that, for me, like you said, is where we lost a lot of shape compared to the balance that we had when we had those three behind the striker, because there was a level of chemistry between those three and an understanding on the football pitch of where the other two would be at any given time.
He had the 92% passing accuracy, which is he had nine ball recoveries, won 100% of his tackles, 3 tackles, which is up there with the most, 2 interceptions. and completed 9 out of 10 passes in the final third, completed 100% of his clearances. So had a very strong game in that position. I think you're right. He's not having to sprint past. He's too far away when he plays there. I think that's more of a tactic than him. But I think when he's in a deeper role, because he is rangy and he can get about, he can nick balls back for us, and that's what he did. He broke up, he broke up the Winksy and all.
Just about using the experience, isn't it? Mm-hmm. He's got loads of experience as a he's been in the Premier League for about 7-8 years now. 8 years, yeah. So he's got all that experience and that's suited to just doing that role. It's a lot easier to when you've got experience and you can slow the game down yourself and you're in the game. That position, we've seen that against Spurs. He's just like running from here to there, and by the time he gets there, the ball's gone over there. And it's just like in that position, there's two of you, and you're just covering that space. And
it doesn't suit him anyway, because off the striker, you've got to have a bit of craft. You've got to be able to put your foot on the ball, pick your head up, pick a pass, or have you got the X factor bit of I can hit one in here from 25 yards? He hasn't got that, so that's why it just doesn't suit it. Whereas it did. I thought we had a big element of control. Obviously. Element being the thing, the rain, the heavens opened and it was craziest rain you'll see, because the intensity of the rain for that long without stopping was mad. And it sort of, I don't think it hampered us. What it did do, it didn't allow them to get they had nothing, they had no head of steam. But I don't know whether
became a distraction.
Yeah, we just sort of took our foot off it at a time when we were so dominant. And I just felt like that 20 minutes up to the half-time whistle just sort of not happened. I'm saying to me that like nothing's happened, has it? The last 50, there was literally nothing. The time is just ebbing away. And we got in at half-time at 1-0, and it's like, we just need that, the killer second goal, the irony of the killer second goal, but we just needed that. Felt like that second goal, if we could have got it this week, we might have been capable of holding on, because Vardy had gone down early and looked like he'd gonna have to go off, but he stayed on. But he hadn't really done anything. He had nothing really other than trying to push the ball and Pickford over the line with his head, which Pickford made the maddest action I've ever seen. Gripped the net and put his legs back, and it was weird. It was a bit weird. But Vardy hadn't really done much. We come out for that second half, which was obviously delayed, and it was like, can we get that second goal? And we'd had a couple of moments with Lindstrom as well, where the one where he really should have found Ndiaye, he should have dinked it at and trying to square it to him. That might have made its way. But we'd had some good actions, but we had a great opportunity to make it 2-0 on a counter-attack. And it's actually Leicester had the ball in our box, and Ndiaye wins the first contact, and we break, and here it is here, and that's going to put it on. And here you can see Dwight McNeil is on the ball, and we've got Calvert-Lewin on the bottom there, taking on for us, and Ed McNeil travels into their half, players running after him, and plays the ball inside the Coley. It's a great ball, just fed into the path of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. That's where he's got to hit it. It's running across him, go for that corner. Dom does, on the next run, does strike it there into that corner, 3 or 4 inches to the, past the keeper there, and it's a goal. Goalie makes a good save. He is on the stretch, just a little bit more, and that's 2-0, I think. And have a go at Dom there, because he hit it back across the keeper. He just hasn't got the angles right on it. But that showed us on the counter-attack. Okay, if he sticks that in the net, I think personally it's game over.
No, what do you
mean? The goalie makes a good save, but you are sort of going, that was a good chance. And we'd had another couple, and Jai had one in the box and he hit it into the side netting when there was an option of a pass on, so they maybe squared it. It was those moments, and you are sitting there on the way the last couple of weeks have gone thinking, I hope that doesn't come back to bite us. But it was it was a good move, wasn't it? It was a good counter-attack. Ped?
Yeah, it was. We broke the play up really well, and just not enough of that, was there? Second half, there just wasn't enough of those counter attacks and just making the right decision as such. But you just wonder whether, I don't know, Dom could have cut inside the defender maybe. But listen, he's done what he's done. He's got a shot off. Keeper's made a decent save. Yeah, there just wasn't enough of that in the second half for me. There was just too much sort of, I don't like to use the word arsing about, but I think I probably just have used them, haven't I?
Yeah.
There was just a little bit too much like waiting for things to happen rather than making things happen. When it was there in front of us to do. They until like the last 25 minutes, they looked a beaten team. The fans looked beaten.
Quiet, like strangely quiet.
Well, it was
Leicester.
All the fans had gone downstairs. They were getting soaked, weren't they?
Yeah.
So I mean, and
It's just flat, wasn't it?
because I mean, they've gone down. They've come back up. They've lost all their talented players, and they've replaced them with lesser players. And yeah, it'll be
difficult.
The manager went as well. They don't particularly like this manager, so it is going to be hard to sort of build that emotion back up, that connect them with your players. And with Everton, with all the drama we've gone into the game with, and we look really settled. You know, there would have been a lot of talk before the game, although it certainly was. But I'm sure they would have picked up on it, of like, oh, Everton on their arse here. Got no players, everyone's out. And we've managed to put a team together, and we've controlled the game for the first hour. And we've seen plenty of those games where you're just like, I thought this was going to be a bit easier today. You know, when you look at the other way, and they would have been a little bit shocked by that. I think that because I think that's the point sometimes when you look at teams who've been promoted. And it must be hard if you are a team who've been in the Premier League for a little bit, then you get relegated, and then you come back up, and you see yourself as a Premier League team, and that's fair enough. But when the quality isn't in, you see a team that everyone's going, these are rubbish, these are the worst team in the Premier League, bar us. And we go, God, these actually look a lot better than us. And that's the annoying part, that we didn't put that to bed, because that's when loads of people will come back and go, well, that's why
that
Everton,
was the moment.
That's why, but they'll say, and we'll say, that's why we are in the position we are, because we can't finish these games.
Well, we were so much in control, and then again the manager made a strange change for me. He took Lindstrom off when I really don't think there was any need, and he was like looking as if to go, me, because with him and Ndiaye, McNeil and Dom, forget about the rest were nice and settled. With them, we carried that threat, and I think Lindstrom was still causing them a problem. He'd had two moments. He'd almost had that one for Ndiaye, and he'd had another one where he fired it. It was a great ball across, and Ndiaye was coming in on the back, and he just couldn't get there. Or was it Dom? One of them was coming in on the back and just couldn't get there. But he looked like he was going to do something. And then we took him off and put Harrison on. And it's not like I quite like Jack Harrison, but we put him on, and immediately we almost went back 5 yards, and James Garner hadn't really had to do anything. You know, Mavididi had him early on, but other than that, he wasn't in the game. He was just doing a job as a right back, allowing Lindstrom to go right up, and then Harrison was almost on top of him. And then that thing happens then where Garner done at a Villa, where he almost drops in and becomes like a centre back, and Harrison drops in
I just both out of position.
It just sort of took us back, and I just didn't get why we had to make the change at that moment.
Yeah, it felt like a needlessly negative substitution, didn't it? Now we're no, same position and that, but it's like we were saying earlier about Lindstrom. He is a lot more advanced than Harrison is in terms of the positions he occupies on the pitch. Jack Harrison, especially on that right hand side, because he's a left winger. He plays on the right in this system. Typically, Dwight McNeil was on the left because that was his position for a long time. And then he was on the right hand side for his track and back, where he his hard work and being able to tuck in. The player Jack Harrison was at Leeds was an attacking left-sided midfielder, a left winger. He'd come inside, or he'd swing them in the box. And what a lot of Leeds fans said to me, the ones I spoke to when we brought Harrison in, was a lot said he was inconsistent. They said, he can be great going forward, but he's inconsistent. He doesn't do it every single game. not one of them said, oh, he's mediocre or he's basic or, you know, he's just a runner. It was, no, he is capable of these big performances, you just don't get them all the time. And the way he's used at Everton is as a defensive winger almost. And I think part of it was we're playing him on the right hand side and he's better on the left. And I think the other part of it is his instructions. I think that's his role in this team, unfortunately.
He's a fella
if that's where he exists in this team, that substitution didn't have to be made because we were occupying Leicester by not facing pressure. We weren't making loads of chances, but we had control of the game with our current attacking setup because they knew we had that threat going up the pitch, so they couldn't commit every man forwards.
He's a fella who Bielsa trusted, and he was important to Bielsa. And Bielsa, okay, he can play on the right, but he was always an attacking winger on the left as well. And you're right, we just employ him almost as a defensive winger. It's like, you know, you're having to check, because we don't have a fullback who'll go on the outside of him, he has to check back most of the time and try and kill him. With Lindstrom, the beauty is he's receiving the ball the right way, he's getting it out of his feet, he hasn't got to check back, it's out of his feet, he can pick a pass, he can whip one in. And it just for me, just felt unnecessary at that moment.
I feel like it was a sub to protect Garner, not to protect Lindstrom. I just think it was timed, like on the hour. Like it was all predetermined. Like Garner will need looking after for the last half an hour. We're not putting on Dixon, and we're gonna make sure that he's protected, and maybe Lindstrom isn't going to do that. I certainly didn't see any signs of Lindstrom tired. He'd just gone into the box, and I just thought that they're just trying to protect James Garner, and I can understand the rationale in that. But like you have both said, they were our outball. And I think you've got to have that little bit of risk. Certainly with that amount of time left, there's plenty of time. Like Harrison would have been, I know he was in the game, but against Bournemouth, if you make that sub at 2-0 up with like 25 minutes to go, you can understand that. You're 2-0 up, you're calming the game down, you're trying to hold on to the ball, you can understand that sub. But when you're 1-0 up and those wide plays are your outball and the way you're going to get behind, because that's the point, we were getting behind Leicester with him, and I just thought once he went off, it just give Leicester that little bit they needed to just and actually it didn't work in terms of protecting Garner whatsoever. No,
that's I mean, they brought Alderson Edward on, didn't he, as well, but they come forward and we would go, because we were moving further back, we gave a stupid corner away, which was frustrating because it could have been avoided. And this is a frustration, because this manager and the coaches, these are the things that they allegedly are very good at. So the frustration for me lately is people just having cheap goals, and this was another one. You know, Leicester get a corner. Ned'll put it on for us now, if he's still awake. Leicester get a corner. You can see Everton have got more than enough bodies ready to deal with it. It's floated in, taken on for us, Ned. It's floated into the box. We've got it circled here. We've got Tarkowski, Keane going up. I think it might be in Diddy, and Mavididi's there. Right? Now, at first, I'm thinking Pickford should be coming, but when you look at it there, he might be a bit far away, but he doesn't react. Goes back to his line. But two of our defenders are jumping into each other. It gets knocked. If you do it again, take it on there, it drops. But look how many players Everton have actually got with two Leicester players in that area. There's 8 Everton players in the 6-yard box and 2 close. Yeah, there's a Leicester player on the outside, but there's 2 in that zone. It's knocked down. Take it on one more. And this is where he reacts again. Look, goalie's on the line. People are just standing and watching. He hits it into the floor. McNeil can't, I think it's McNeil on the line, can't head it out. And it ends up in the back of our net. And they haven't, the thing that really annoyed me more than anything about this goal was this wasn't like it was wave after wave. No. And we were having to just kick the ball away and you're going, this is coming. It was a silly corner. The corner wasn't even great. And we don't react, and it's 1-1. Jack, and it's like another lead for the 4th game on the run. Everton have thrown the lead away.
Yeah, it's again, it goes against everything we're told this manager and this coaching setup was meant to be about. You know, not giving away silly set pieces, and then when you are defending set pieces, you're organised.
Second game on the run, they've scored from the set piece.
But it's what, as a club, we're meant to be about under this manager. Solid at the back, especially under set pieces, and then for your centre-halves have a bit of a coming together in the air. It can happen, like it's happened to every centre-back at one point or another, but I think when, again, it's these two, and we've been saying for weeks, these two on the pitch just don't complement each other. You know, they're both capable of performances. Even Keane has had his performances in an Everton shirt.
Definitely,
and it's not just with Toffee.
He didn't have a bad game Saturday.
No, of course not, but it's another example of these two just not quite having that understanding almost, and maybe I'm being harsh there, but it just feels like another example of what we've been saying.
There's enough bodies though to react to the second ball. The ball drops, Mavididi reacts to it, but none of ours react, and it's in our net, and that's a cheap goal. Now imagine the manager's furious really with such a cheap goal to give away.
One of them should be just dealing with it. I mean, like I made the thing about Pickford coming off the line. It's something they've decided it doesn't happen, and I think you know, if you want it to happen, then fine. But I don't think blaming Pickford. You look at that, right? If Pickford comes out there, he just adds to the chaos in my eyes. He adds to that chaos of it's another body, and if he doesn't get it, then we're in trouble. For me, Toffee and Michael Keane have got enough experience that they should just be dealing with that. It should just be headed away. And last season, because we dealt with it, there wasn't an issue then. It's an issue now because there's a lot of balls coming into the box and the centre-backs are not dealing with it, and it's as simple as that. Pickford stays at home. That's what they agree to, and the centre-backs clear it out. So Pickford is ready for, if anything, hopefully if dropped, he can deal with it. And it's just the way the two of them end up sort of bumping into each other, and that's what makes the ball fall, and it's so stupid. And obviously the lads reacted first, and you know that's what happens when you're a forward, you tend to react first. But it is not, and even like leading up to the corner, I think it's Doucouré boots the ball up into the air and it goes backwards, and then Garner doesn't deal with it. He allows the ball to bounce in the box, gets the wrong side of the player, and it's just like, come on, these things shouldn't be happening in a professional team, in this kind of team, in a well-drilled kind of side. But I just look at those centre-backs and think, you should be dealing with that all day. That's like what a Sunday League play.
Well, they got a corner just after it, and Pickford did come and punch
he did
to deal with it because they weren't dealing with it. And that was the thing, even after they equalised, okay, I think they got one more corner, still on trouble. They had nothing. No. They didn't even what was weird for them, if I'm a Leicester fan there, I'd be fuming that we didn't sort of go again, because this team are fragile. There was nothing, you know what I mean? And again, for us, that's the frustration, is that we didn't have another level. He took off Iliman Ndiaye. I mean, let's have a look at Iliman Ndiaye's numbers for the game. You know, 40 touches, 89% passing accuracy, goals 1, big chance created 1, key passes 4. He created 4 chances, he created 1 big chance. You can see his heat map there all over the left, but he's another one. We took him off and put Iliman on, and his face when he got subbed, he sort of couldn't believe it. I don't know why. Listen, the manager said the other week, he looked tired. I didn't think he looked tired against Bournemouth.
No. And
yet these players, some other players, are never considered to go off. So why are you taking 2 players who are taking you up the pitch off? That's my questions.
You just said it.
Because they're taking us
up the pitch because they risk something. They both risk something, and I'm sorry, but that is like the fundamental problem with a manager that focuses in, who has like that much. You know what I mean? That's where he looks. He never looks like that. He never looks at and that will be the problem with this manager. And, you know, sort of John Textor alluded to this when he was talking about him. He said, can he deal with better players?
Flair players.
Who I don't even class them as flair players. I think football now is such a regimented thing that you don't have those players. They all know they all have to wear. He'll get to this level of football.
No, but what I mean is, Ndiaye he's an attacker.
But I don't see Ndiaye picking the ball up and doing something really, really silly that loses the ball in his own half. I watched Tim Ibunen, I'm not throwing him in, but I watched Tim Ibunen pick the ball up just outside our box and lose the ball in a really, really dangerous position. And that to me is just because he's an inexperienced player, and that's the reason why he didn't start the game. And to me, he should never have moved Doucouré out to that role. There was no need for it. That didn't need changing.
If you were going to do it, just stick Ibunen there.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
That's what you're gonna do.
Which is where I think that's Ibunum's like sort of position anyway. If you're gonna play a 3, him gonna be the most advanced one of them. Someone who can pick the ball up,
travels well with
and
the ball,
travel with it in a place where that if he loses it,
less risk.
He puts you in. Yeah, there's less. And I think when he took Ndiaye off, it was just like you're putting the white flag up. What you're saying is we've got enough here that we'll protect this lead. Now, how long can you do that for in terms of taking a club forward? How long other clubs go? Nottingham Forest were 2-1 down at Brighton. He made 3 subs at half time and said, no, this isn't good enough. I want to go and win this game, or I want to get something out of this game. Ends up getting a draw out of it in the end of it. And we're seeing more and more of that in the game.
It's attacking game, isn't it?
Just a lazy substitution for me, though. It's like, it feels like if you went on to ChatGPT and said, oh, I'm a football manager and I'm defending a lead, what should I do to help keep the lead? And one of the answers to give you is you could take off an attacking player for a more defensive one. But you're not observing the game making that substitution, because like Ted's saying, he's not a luxury player. He's not a player that you have to accommodate, but he works hard. That the counter attack we had, where obviously McNeil plays Dom through, that came from Ndiaye winning the ball back on the edge of our box. His stats for his defensive numbers have always been good.
Well, he was alongside McNeil as well. He didn't just stand still.
But his heat map, he's up and down. So he works very hard, but because he also happens to be our best attacking outlet, that makes him a risk in the manager's eyes. But it's Richarlison, when he was here, he worked very hard. You never would have took him off just because he happened to be our best attacking player. It's a substitution that felt like it was made by someone who weren't watching the game.
Well, I was going to say, and I know Ped wants to say something just very quickly, but he took him off and then he moved Doucouré to go there. McNeil, who was doing well, had to go to the left to put it up. And it's like, if you're going to do it then, all right, and you're taking the left side off, okay, McNeil drop there, just Ibunen and go up, leave the structure with Mangala and thing. Moving 3 players sometimes for one. He done it against Bournemouth, didn't he? He moved McNeil, who was doing well.
He's got less options, and I do appreciate that. He's got very few options. But I'll say it again, like I said it in the Bournemouth game. If you're a Leicester player and you're watching Ndiaye go off, you're like, nice one. We've all been there. We've all gone,
why are you taking him off?
You just took him off. Happy days. I just don't understand that. I just don't understand. You want your player, and the manager, we've got all the numbers. Neither player looked tired to me. In fact, if anything, the only thing that was tiring out Ndiaye was how heavy his shirt was. You know what I mean? It's like, I just thought he looked all right. And when you've got a player who can carry the ball, who's that threat, well, if you're tired, if you're the right back and you're like, you want to see McNeil, just like,
also,
than this fella,
without like totally bagging the manager out, like in a more attacking manager would be thinking he's staying on because he might produce that moment that wins us this game, not what we protect sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? And listen, people will argue for and against that. Some people will say, I totally understand that it was the right decision, whatever. I think a lot of people will be thinking, no, that game was there for us to win, and Ndiaye might have been, because he looked the most likely to unlock them, might have been the way to do it. And it was just sort of give Leicester the impetus. Nothing really happened after that. You know, it ends in a
especially with our defensive record the last few games as well. Saying to a team, go on, can you get another one? And they'll be like, yeah, we can. Yeah, we can, because we've watched you fall to bits in the last few games.
Seriously?
And the amount of times we started just like giving the ball away and doing silly like...
The irony is, McNeil and Ibunen give it away in dangerous positions near the end, because they were both in, you know...
At Harrison as well, just couldn't get out his feet in the middle as well.
Yeah, there was one where he couldn't get it. He should have just cleared it, and he didn't. He started, couldn't get out. I think he took it off him, and I think Garner tidied it up, but it was those moments. But one player who has been much maligned, lately, and some people will say yes, rightly so, or whatever, but one player I thought had a good game at the weekend for Everton was Ashley Young. Let's have a look at his stats from the game. 68 touches, 80% passing accuracy, won 100% of his tackles, 2 out of 2. Chance created, 2. And I think that was 6 ball recoveries. How many? 8 ball recoveries, sorry. 8 ball recoveries for Ashley Young. Thought he had a really solid game at left back. Again, I don't agree with him starting games all the time. Of course, I don't think he's a good squad player and he should be used, you know, in certain moments. But I thought he did well at the weekend. And like we said before, it was a great ball for the Ndiaye goal.
Yeah, it was, and you know, like you say, on his stats, he's made a couple of chances. So, yeah, he had a very decent performance. For me, no issues, no defensive mix-ups, and obviously being a good outlet for us going forward. I think, yeah, I'm with you. I don't necessarily want to see him in the team sheet every week because I think we do need to look to move past him to a degree, but you know, as long as he's in the team, if he performs like this, I've got no issues. And yeah, you know, good for him because he's had his critics over the last couple of weeks, especially us included, because a lot of it's certainly been deserved, and then obviously other parts as well, maybe not so deserved, but he's still suffered it, and he's came back and he's bounced back with a decent performance. So yeah, that's the type of character we want from our players, isn't it?
And he definitely wasn't getting booed. I
think he gets a lot of. I think he gets a lot of stick that he doesn't deserve.
Oh, again, I'm not giving him stick.
No.
I'm saying
in general,
I think there's a role for him.
In general, I think he gets a lot of stick. He played 90 minutes.
Yeah, played well.
That's why the manager.
Why is he not? Hang on, why is he not tired?
Exactly, but I say this all the time. It's why the manager likes him. He plays 90 minutes. Yes, he make silly mistakes like the Brighton game. Yes, if he realised that how his age, then maybe he wouldn't play 90 minutes. I don't know, maybe it works both ways, but he is a good squad player in terms of like the experience he gives you, and I thought he was very, very solid. And the reason we scored the goal wasn't just like because he gave an assist. Anyone could have given the ball. It was fired it into him, used all that space with the ball and got him into a good area. And I see it all the time when teams are selected. Who else would have played left back on the weekend?
No. There's no one.
And he played well.
It would have been McNeil, and we saw him. He got Cornet. Had them on toast in the Southampton game. Wasn't even a good performance by Cornet, but McNeil just was all over the place. So, no, he had a good game at the weekend. Let's have a look at the overall stats from the game. Here we go, 1-1. Leicester had 12 shots, Everton 17. 2 on target for the Foxes, 5 for the Toffees. Leicester outpassed Everton 460 to 335 and had 59% possession for Leicester City. It's still, like I said, it does feel though like it's 2 points dropped. We need to get that win as soon as possible. The kit looked nice. It was giving me the vibes early on of with Lampard when we won there 2-1. Michalenko scored early. It was that similar kit, and I felt like it was a real opportunity for us to win the game. And at 1-0 in midway through the first half, I was thinking, we could win this 3-0. We could get enough and just keep it and protect it.
Let me just ask you a question before we finish. Did you think someone was going to get struck by lightning?
Well, it's Everton, and it was a real thing when it was bouncing and you see people looking. I was thinking, why hasn't he took them off for a bit? Because it'll only stay for 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, but you heard the crowd a couple of times. It's like, oh,
yeah, there was a couple. But we come out and started playing, and there was a big bang, wasn't it? It was like, why didn't you just wait another 5 minutes and then restart it?
I've never seen rain like that.
No, the rain was mad. What was mad about it was you see it for a few minutes, heavy, and then it goes a bit easier. Then it might have them spurts. It was constant. You couldn't see the commentator. I can't see the far side at one stage.
I did find that a bit weird though. The commentator going, it's bad for us. Wonder what it would be like for the players. No, the players can see, love. It's because it's on the other side of the pitch.
They're in the game.
Yeah,
you can see. But there you go, 1-1. Let us know in the comment section below. Is it a point game for you, or does it feel like 2 points dropped at this stage? Let us know. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel if you want to become a Toffee TV Premier member, where we are continuing live now on there. Then click the link in the description below. Otherwise, see you later.